Can you be in this video too? I love you. Okay.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey guys! So, happy Women's Day! I told you I'm gonna milk on that. Anyways, so as you know, I am here with the very famous, the master, oh my god, Ginoza costuming.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
Good.
How have you been?
Really good.
So, it's been a week since C2E2.
Yep, it has
How
been.
are you feeling?
Pretty good. I'm ready for the next con already, honestly. Yeah.
So, like, if you were to sum up your... So this, I'm guessing this was your first time judging at C2E2, right?
Yes, it's my
How
first
was-
time judging, but every other time before now I've competed.
Yeah?
Mhm.
So how did you feel? What was your experience, like, you know, moving from like competing at C2E2 to judging at C2E2? Because like you had so much experience at C2E2.
Right. Judging was definitely a lot harder. I know that sounds weird. You'd think that the competing part would be harder, but I think honestly judging was harder. They put you through the ringer. Like it's a hard day's work for sure.
And yeah, this year like the level of competition and level of the costumes was
Yeah.
so amazing.
Even just at the regional, people were like there were some of the most stunning costumes I've seen,
Yeah,
especially in needlework. Needlework was stacked this year.
I mean, honestly, like
Yeah.
every time I talk to someone, I always tell them like we are lucky that like US gets only one entry in the Crown Championship, because this year it was.
there have even been previous years that I was dang, US should get more than one entry because it's.
It should not.
I wish.
But it was crazy. Like some of the most amazing costumes I saw here, like I think both internationally and domestically, like they were just something like some of the best costumes I've ever seen in life.
Absolutely.
And the kind of like even in the Crown Championship, the kind of costumes that were there was so unique and different from each other that it was really a life-changing experience for me.
A second time.
Yeah, a second time. Like I this is Sami 3.0 right in front of you.
I've only repped US once, so we know who's clearly better here.
So I thought of doing this video with you because I know like how much experience like you, like me, are someone who loves competing in cosplay, right? And that's something that I feel is like really amazing. I mean, it really, I think a major reason for the like why we are getting like growing so much. Like you have become so good, it's because you're competing in competitions, right? So I wanted to know like what goes on in your mind when you're choosing a character, when you're picking up on a costume, like what all are the things that you're considering?
There's a lot to consider. Like choosing a costume is probably honestly the hardest part of the process. Making things is hard, but choosing your costume anymore when you're doing this high of a level of competition is really hard. If you choose the wrong costume, even though you make it perfectly, someone else chose a better costume because it's bigger and more. So it's really hard to find that like perfect costume that fits above someone else's. It's extremely hard. Like if you want to compete at the world level or like the regional level, it's extremely hard. So I have a lot of things to consider, like multidisciplines. I really like having different disciplines, not just doing sewing, but also doing foam work or thermoplastic or resin casting or possibly prosthetics in the future. Like I don't know. That's something I usually consider. And then is the paint job cool? Usually I like to have a cool paint job.
Yes.
Usually. But yeah, that's usually what I'm thinking.
So do you think like because like paint job is your strength, so do you pick up characters which like
sometimes
when you're playing on your strength?
Yeah, a lot of times. Like this one right here, definitely.
By the way, this is the first time I saw her in cosplay and it was fan at first sight. I mean, this thing is amazing. I mean, I'm lucky I'm seeing it in person and you're not. But
again.
Again. And still, like, I think it's one of my favorite costumes you have done. I mean, the amount of you have really made a name for yourself in like cosplay painting.
Basically since Borderlands, but like this helped a lot too. Like picking the right design and something that you really love as well is also really, really important. For real. Like I could pick something out that's super amazing, but like would I have the connection with it? I actually like World of Warcraft, so I at least have that connection already. But if I pick something from Monster Hunter, you bet I'm gonna play Monster Hunter first to actually see if I like it. Yeah, I can't, like, in good conscience. I just can't.
It's so difficult. Like, I mean, that's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like, you know, how you see a character from a different game that you might have not played, but because, like, when you were saying, like, the competition has become so fierce nowadays, and like the people are doing such amazing
so people
work.
have to, like, reach out to try and find things from different genres, like, different games.
I'm always constantly looking for things that maybe I can have a chance of winning it, but unfortunately I have not been able to crack it yet. But and now to add to the mix, like, that's something which is, I think, unique to United States, like, because in a lot of countries, like, I was talking to other cosplayers from different countries, and over there also, I think having original designs is not something that is very I mean, because
they don't allow it there.
They don't allow it there.
Yeah.
And that is something which is really popular in US nowadays, and a lot of competition.
It is, because people are struggling to find new costumes. That's why the original design game has really started. And there's not a ton of artists that do original designs yet, but, like, those people are definitely getting the work because competition cosplayers are looking for more designs.
Yeah, I think a lot of amazing designers like Zach Fisher Art and even
Cinder's art.
Cinder's art.
I mean, Sunset, like, Dragon is another one.
Yeah, they have really gained prominence in the past few years because of
this one particular niche,
and of a lot of cosplay competitions.
Yep, and people also want different cosplays to do, not competition wise.
Yeah. So like, I again, this was something that I had to ask you. Like, so what do you think about, like, what's the perfect balance between, you know, accuracy and originality and finishing and multidisciplinary? Because this is something which I think, like, all of you judges, like, struggle with, because, like, if you have a really good costume in one discipline and then, like, a slightly less costume but, like, it has a lot of discipline, so how do you find the balance between, like, what's that final thing, like, if all the costumes
final thing always is cleanliness, period. Like, if one costume is, like, the perfect sewing costume, the most perfect thing you've ever seen. Jackie's Stuffing Things. I don't know if you know her on Instagram, but she does everything she makes. It's just the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And all she does is sewing. And I'm, like, blown away by everything she does. So compare something like that to something else that might be slightly less good quality, but has, like, I don't know, 15 different disciplines. This one's going to win.
So at the end
because
of the day,
finishing really matters.
So yeah, at the end of the day, you mean, like...
I'm not saying multi-disciplines is not good, but...
it gives you an advantage, but at the end of the day...
It does give you advantage, but you need to show mastery of those things. You can't just throw in a piece of leather, and I did this on my last costume. I threw in some leather, threw in some resin casting where it absolutely was not necessary. I could have done it out of foam, and nobody would have cared, like, either way. It didn't add towards my success, because I just did some leather dyeing and some super basic leather stuff, and then I did super basic resin casting, and then I put them together, and it made things way clunkier than they needed to be. But I wanted to get as many disciplines in there as possible. But it really doesn't matter if you don't show a mastery of those disciplines. Like, if you're going to do leatherworking, you should do not only, like, little tiny things, but you should be doing tooling, and you should be showing advanced techniques and, I don't know, dyeing and things like that. Things that really show that what you're doing is mastery, and maybe even something that no one's ever seen before. Unfortunately, we're at that point. People have to be that good now.
Yeah, I mean, like, in a lot of costumes,
it's crazy.
I mean, in a lot of costumes, I remember, like, last year how Cowbird Crunchy did her, like, the chest piece. Yeah, like, that was something which was...
People don't really do that.
Yeah,
it was so really amazing. Different.
It was really amazing. And I mean, and the thing you were talking about finishing, I mean, that's something that a lot of people not able to wrap their head around right now, because, like, they are not able to see the costume in person.
Yes.
I think that's a big thing. Like, yeah.
So you might see this, like, much smaller costume, and then see that one over this big crazy costume where 10 feet away they both look good, but the big one looks even more amazing. The big one won't win because the finishings are not as good as the smaller costume.
I mean, that happened, like, this year, honestly. Like, so my, like, obviously, like, when you're getting into competition, you have kind of expectations, and you think you have you make up your own mind, like, okay,
Yeah.
I love this costume more, I think this costume is gonna
Mhm.
win, this costume this. And what happened this year was like, initially I was shocked first at, like, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, these costumes are really amazing, but like this costume is huge and there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And then I was not able to figure out why it was happening, so I was that's why I started
Mhm.
talking to like you, and I
Mhm.
talked to other judges
Yeah,
also.
why things are the way that they
Yeah,
are.
I talked
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Pepper Monster, I also talked to Ivy Doom Kitty, and then I realized, okay, so these costumes, like, they had so much going on inside. And
Mhm.
like finishing wise,
Mhm.
like that you
Like Zephyr's costume was
Yeah.
like so flawless. Like I almost put like 10s across the board on my like entire scoring sheet. Like it was pretty stunning. Like, and he modeled like everything on his costume. Plus everything was like ingeniously attached, and all of his lighting was working on like basically one switch.
Exactly.
Which I was just like, how the heck do you make that many lights go on one switch? But he did it. So
and that's something that people don't realize, because we have
Yeah.
not seen the costume up close, and we have not really
yeah, you have to.
scrutinize it to the level
Yep.
that you guys have.
Yep.
So yeah, this year was like really like opening, like mind opening for me. I don't know
Yeah.
what mind opening is a good word or not.
Mind-boggling.
Mind boggling.
I don't
opening,
know.
whatever. So yeah, like, so last time I was here, okay, I saw your costume. I was like,
Mhm.
okay, so I need to make a good construction, and I need to like paint it decently.
Mhm.
Then I'll have a good chance. And then so
Just
that
keep getting bigger. Just
Yeah,
keep doing better. Just
that
keep
was-
doing more.
that
Like, you-
was my plan. Like, okay,
Yeah.
if I have done that, like I won't come first, but I'll maybe able to come third or something like. But I come here and see the costume. Like,
everybody keeps
what?
getting better every single year.
Yeah,
Like,
the stakes are just getting higher and higher, man.
I'm really sad that like China didn't get to come, because last year I know for a fact their costume was
Yeah.
pretty sweet,
Yeah.
and but then I didn't get to see it, and then
They were not
this
here.
year they
like,
weren't able
this,
to
This
come.
is the second year. I don't know why they're
Yeah,
not
I
here.
don't know.
They were, I think they were there last year with an Iron Man or something,
Oh really?
or an Iron Man.
Oh man.
Was
The last 2 years they did a sewing thing, and I was really excited to see what
Mm.
China would bring in sewing. I was really excited for that.
But
Mm.
yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, so okay, so when another thing I wanted to ask you, like, so now that we know like what all the things that you look for when in competition, so how do you go about planning? So like once you have like chosen the character, now that you know that this is what you want to make,
Oh yeah.
so how do you plan your build? Like, do you start? So this is a question that a lot of people face. Like, do you
Oh, they're
start
like,
with
it's so big, where do I start?
yeah,
That
and like,
kind of
do
thing.
you start with the easiest thing? Do you start with the difficult thing? Do you start with the thing that you love the most? Like,
Yeah.
which is the part that you do?
I know what I should do, and what I should do is go inside out. Like if you make something like a piece of armor that goes on the outside, but you didn't make the bodysuit that goes under it, and another piece of armor that goes under that, you're gonna be unhappy with the fact that you didn't plan for all these other things to go underneath it. So you should go inside out, but I usually like to start with like one piece I'm really excited about that I probably shouldn't do, but like for my last costume I did like this skull belt buckle thing. It ended up being the wrong size, by the way, because I went straight for it. But I like to do one thing I'm really excited about, so I actually like can start with high momentum.
So it motivates you for the rest
Yes,
of the build?
it motivates me to keep going. But then after that, I know I need to buckle down and do some of the underneath stuff. I know. And then I usually save a lot of hard stuff for last, because
But is that a good idea?
it's not a good idea.
Yeah,
You
because,
should not
like,
do that. But I use that to like force my procrastination to like, I don't know, work for me, because procrastination's like, what'd you say? Procrastination's like goes hand in hand with deadlines.
With deadlines.
Yeah,
yes.
with deadlines. So
Because-
having a really strict deadline, it's like, okay, you've got a month. You really need to sculpt that helmet and cast it. Oh God, but you've never done that before. So I usually do that.
Because that's
Force myself to work harder, faster,
That's a problem I always face. Like I would always start with like the easier piece probably.
Yeah,
like,
easier
like,
pieces.
okay, so this, once I have gotten into the flow of things, I've set my hand and everything. So what will happen is like I'll spend so much time on the easy piece, like at the end now, like the difficult piece. Now
and you need more time for it.
They start piling up, and then there's a point when like if everything goes smooth, your costume will be done, but never ever never
it doesn't
does
just
everything
be completely smooth. Like
nothing goes like according to plan.
Oh man, last year when I was working on my troll costume, I was doing daily updates, like getting stuff done, and I do not work fast. So I was doing like, at the end I was doing like 15-hour days. It was bad. I was working 15-hour days trying to get this thing done, and actually a month before the convention, I was like, Josh, or my husband, I was like, I do not think I can get this done in time to the extent that I want to get it done. And he's like, can you make it work? And I'm like, I think I can make it work, but by doing that, I put myself literally through 15 to 18 hour days. Yeah, for like almost a whole month. I had one day off. Like a lot of people took breaks from costumes last year, like because the game is getting so high and people want to keep doing more and more and bigger.
Exactly.
That it's taking them longer to make things, so people have to like understand that they have to stop making the costume so that they can take care of themselves. I did not do that, and I suffered for it.
I mean, yeah, like that's something again.
It's
like,
bad.
This has become a thing now. Earlier on, I'd be like, as soon as I'm done with one costume, I'm always excited for the next one. But now, like even with this costume, I had been working on it for so long, and like after a while, you have to take that downtime. And you have
sometimes you do, especially when you work that hard. I was working that hard up to the day. I was in my hotel room the Friday before the contest, like the day before the contest, working on my costume, like working on it. Not just like tiny little baby things, like I have at least 20 more hours to put into this costume, but it needs to be done in 15 hours. Like,
so like
it was scary. And oh yeah, and I was updating on Instagram, like, all right, I got this done. All right, I got this done. And then people were like, Brittany, are you going to get your costume done in time for the costume contest? And after I got everything on, like an hour before my prejudged time on Saturday, I posted a selfie and I was like, I finally did it. Oh my God, it was so stressful. It was awful.
And so, like, have you ever, like...
I will never do that to myself again.
No, please don't.
I'm going to try not to.
It's really nerve-wracking. It's really nerve-wracking. And, you know, I think after a point, it takes away the love that you have for crafting.
It did, and it really did that for me because I put so much work into that so quickly, and I found that it was a good idea to skip at least, because I was just doing one competition after another, and I've heard other people doing the exact same thing, getting burned out like that, but then they just keep going, and sometimes you just need to skip one. You're not giving up on everything, you just need to like skip one to get to the next one. Give yourself a little bit more time to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the process, or what's the point of doing it?
Exactly, like that's something like I think everyone goes through.
Yeah.
When they're making a big costume.
Didn't think it was gonna be me, but then there was C2E2 last year. Oh.
It's not your fault, like you said.
It happens, you know.
It's just getting so crazy, man.
It gets crazy.
So have you ever like cut corners when working?
I don't cut corners. That's the problem. I don't cut corners. That's why I have to put in 15, 18-hour days, like going up to the competition, because I literally cannot cut a corner. I can't do it, especially for competition.
Yeah.
I might for a non-competition costume, but then I'm like, oh well, I'm already making it up to competition standards, so I might as well compete with it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm my own worst critic.
So like we were talking right now, so not always like the plans like go according to how we want them. So how do you deal with that? Like, so if suppose you're working on a costume and right at the moment when you're about to finish it, something happens, and
like you dump paint all over something you just spent 40 hours painting or something. I haven't done that.
I had not. Because it's a personal thing that I do. Like it's a not a personal thing. It's a like stupid thing I do. So and like I think it's because of lack of experience. I think, and I really have to work on that. But like how I've seen most of people crafting in India is that like we focus on the crafting first. Like we would like go straight in, we'll build everything,
and then
everything, and then we will figure out how to put this together.
Oh God, and I have to think about that while I'm doing it. Otherwise, that troll costume would not stick together. There's too many, even things like this, padding out things. You have to keep that kind of thing in mind, especially if there's lighting. Yeah, you really have to keep stuff in mind. So we have to think about I have to think about it the entire process, and that makes things take longer.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, I think these kinds of things happen because we have not given us enough time to work on a costume. And like last year, what that happened, like I made out a complete costume, and at the very end, I was not able to put it together, and I was preparing for that costume for a very long time. And it was really disappointing. It really started me.
It was negative.
It was really bad time, and not just that. Like it started putting questions in my mind, like why
am I doing this?
Yeah,
like, kind
and
of
all those like existential crisis questions.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
Me last year.
Yes, how do you deal with that?
You'd be sad. You'd be sad about it. I know a lot of people have gone through this type of thing, especially in the last year, and I go through that with seeing. I follow a lot of freaking amazing people on social media, and they're constantly doing amazing things, and it can get discouraging. But guess what? I hear the exact same thing from people talking about me, and they're just like, oh, she's doing a really cool thing.
We get discouraged.
I get freaking discouraged, and I'm just like, dude, I'm going through the exact same thing right now. There's always going to be somebody better than you. Like, there's pretty much always going to be somebody better than you. Let's be honest. It doesn't mean that you can't be better. It doesn't mean that you can't get better at
not
things.
In
oh yeah, well, shut up. Only in this one particular style, perhaps. But there's always going to be someone better, and it doesn't mean that you can't get better. It doesn't mean that you can't strive for better things. I
mean that's one of the biggest draws for me for cosplaying. Like I love crafting.
Getting better than other people.
Yeah, getting better than other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and like, you know, learning new things while I'm crafting,
yes.
and that's the most, like, I think whenever I hit a boulder, and if I have time, then that's actually the most enjoyable thing for me, because I'm trying to figure out, okay, this is problem that I have encountered, how do I get through it, like how do I, and when you eventually do get through it, it's such a rush, like it feels so amazing.
Absolutely. Like when I make something that I didn't think I could make to the quality that I hoped it would be is always really cool. But what really helps me get through that feeling is finding the passion in the things again. Like after doing the troll costume, like I was pretty like burned out. And it took me a bit of time to like get the passion back, because I didn't have a project that I was like, this is the thing I want to make. Like this was something I really wanted to make. I knew this is what I was wanting to make. And I didn't have any ideas left. I couldn't pick a freaking costume because I didn't have any fandoms left to tap. Like that were of super amazing costumes. And sometimes maybe it's a good idea to just like stop and play some video games.
Look for inspiration.
You have to look for inspiration. I can't tell you how many hours I spent on Pinterest looking at armor concepts. Like, why don't I attach to any of these? But like, sometimes that's just what you need to do. You need to like stop, find your interests again, and then that's how it started. Like, I liked Teen Titans, and I was like, I'm gonna be Raven. And I was excited about making it, and I made it, and it was awesome. And yeah, maybe not to the best of my abilities now, but doing those dream costumes, when you're done with the dream costumes, what the heck are you supposed to do? So you gotta make new dreams.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I did. And now I have like 4 costumes I'm making. Oh boy. But like I'm excited about it again. So yeah.
I really suck at making dream costumes. Like I have this like list of costumes that I really want to make, and
I have very few dream costumes left. That's why I have to start making more, discovering more things. I can't like keep tapping out the things that I know.
Yeah, like I always end up like making something completely random just at the last moment. I'm like, okay, I want to make this, I want to make this, I want to make this. Oh shit, this won't win.
Never mind, I'm gonna make Zoltar.
Like, let's make this will win. And then it doesn't in C2E2, but it's okay. It's okay. That's life.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. There's a lot of amazing competitors that come to C2E2. I have said it time and time again, this is the hardest competition in the world. The hardest. Like by far, there's nothing that competes against this in craftsmanship. Like this is it. Like TwitchCon is small potatoes compared to this.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like yeah, they've got really amazing costumes that come through there.
I mean, like, but
this brings the best in the world.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, in terms of craftsmanship, this is the best competition there has to be.
This is
because
one we have
such amazing judges, you know.
No, shut up! I didn't even catch you. And maybe even cooler and more better ones next year. We'll see. We'll see. We're trying. I've got some people on my list. I'm gonna try to recruit.
I have no clue, but I'm gonna act like I know.
I'm gonna try.
She has told me a few things. Friends at high places. So now that you are through this, like, do you think you want to judge again in a cosplay competition?
If they make it a little less hard on the judges, maybe. But I really want to compete. I want to win still. They told me that I can compete again other years
cool.
if I did it this one year. So
I was hoping they won't, because you know.
I mean, I want to win it. I mean, I know it's just a crown, but like it's a shiny crown.
Yeah, it has lights in it.
It has lights in it.
Yeah, and it looks really finished.
My friend Steve SKS Props is like, I know the guy that makes the crowns. He could probably just make you one. And I'm like, yeah, but it would have to be bronze because it only ever come in third. And it would have to be tiny. Yeah. Like just a tiny crown, and I'd just look at it and just be sad.
Apna time aayega. It's an Indian saying. it means our time shall come.
I really hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so someday, unless I give up on it.
Say it. Say apna time aayega.
Time aayega.
Apna time aayega.
Apna time aayega.
Yeah. So what's gonna be your next build?
Next big build? Next big build is actually not big, but it's really freaking cool. I found this. I really love Soul Calibur and Tekken, and I've already made things from it. But I found this artist that did a custom Yoshimitsu design. I know I've already done a Yoshimitsu, but it's really, really amazing. It's so amazing.
It's one of the best designs I've ever seen.
It is really amazing. It's not like crazy outrageous, but it's like extremely detailed. I'm just so excited to make it.
The first time I saw it, like I was like, yeah, I have to make it, and then I saw that she's making it. I'm like, okay,
never
I don't
mind.
have to make it.
Yeah, he actually knew about it around the same time I found out about it.
It's just amazing. So if you have not seen the design, it's by Rafa Grassetti.
Yep.
Rafa
Grassetti on Instagram and
go to her Instagram. She has posted about it.
Yes, there's pictures about it.
Yes,
and stuff,
it's an amazing Yoshimitsu design.
Oh it's gonna be amazing.
I'm really excited about that.
I'm very excited. Like the fact that I'm excited means that you can get through that bog of not being excited.
I wish I had one next C2E2 next year so I could have seen that costume. I'm so excited.
Yeah, man. It's too bad. I really want you to be here next year.
I'm trying.
I really hope that they don't like recruit you as a judge and they allow you to do it next year.
No.
Because we all know you're gonna win again.
No, man.
As long as you pick a sweet
people
costume.
are at my throat.
Oh yeah, I bet they're like, man.
Yeah, like it's too much. 2 times is too much. Right?
You gotta get a third time.
Yeah, the
third time's a charm.
I have to do it. You know.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, we have to do it.
And then we can do this again.
Yes.
We'll do the update.
Yeah, we'll do the update.
The
like
update video.
As winners, maybe like you come first, I come second.
Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be perfect actually.
Is that a deal that we can have?
Yeah, probably. Okay. And then also Alt F4 because she'll be here again. Like honestly, maybe
a lot
she'll
of
be
people.
third.
A lot of people. I was talking to a lot of competitors and everyone. This year, everyone was left pumped. Like we have to come back again.
Because it's fun.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the other international?
Yeah, and I think this time, although like in our minds at least, I think like all of us had a really good chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was talking to Daniel from Singapore. He's also going to compete next year. I'm really excited. Like I think this was one of the best bunch I've competed with. Like I had such an amazing time.
I know.
I mean,
right?
this C2E2 was the best convention I've ever been to. I mean, like
just people wise, like the people that we knew there, like you met so many new people. I'm assuming you met a lot of new people, probably the same people I know. They're all really great.
You are the one who introduced me to a lot of people.
Pretty much. But that's okay. I'm like, this is Samir. He's cool. That's pretty much all I say.
Yeah, so like I think this was one of the best conventions. I know you guys have a lot of conventions here.
This is one of the best ones of the year for me. Besides the fact that I normally compete here, and I love the fact that I compete here. Like the fact that everybody was here, like all the friends, all the people in the prop building community, all the makers all come here.
Yeah.
Freaking seamstresses out the wazoo.
And, I mean, I met so many amazing people here. Like so many of the people,
amazing
legends.
makers.
Like people have been following for years.
Yeah,
like,
and they all came to this convention this year. It doesn't always happen, but like some years it does. And if we get some big names next year in cosplay, maybe we'll get even more. Just saying, that could be amazing.
Yeah, and I'm really looking forward to
next year when he shows up.
Yes, next year when I try my best.
We'll try. Yes, he'll try to show up. You still got to beat a lot of other people.
Yeah, I mean, like India is a big country.
It is.
Yeah,
and you guys have like 4 or 5 qualifiers.
We have 4 cities, and so every city has 2 winners. It's a very yeah. So we have like in our final competition we have close to. This year I think we'll have 10 because we have added 1 more city.
Oh, okay. So you have to win out of 10 then. You got a 1 in 10 chance unless you're like obviously better.
Please don't say all these things. This video is meant to like for people of my country.
Yeah, I know.
My country, so that they like me. Please like me. Yeah.
Please like him.
He's
already
like and subscribe.
Like subscribe ad.
No, so yeah, like I'm really happy I got to meet you again. Like if for those of you guys who don't know it, like I was here back in 2017. I think we have talked about it in the video, but yeah, I was back here in 2017, and like she was competing with me at that time, and man, like the kind of work she has been doing since then is just crazy.
I always gotta do bigger and better. Like,
yeah, man, like we have to
yeah.
catch up. I have to catch up, and all the people
it's a hard game.
all the people who were competing with me, like all of them doing such amazing job.
I agree.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's really cool, and it really puts everything in perspective for me. And every time I come here, I feel like I'm growing a lot as not just as a person, like as a cosplayer.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean,
like,
I mean, it's only been one time that you've come back, but
Yeah.
like I've already seen the massive improvement.
Thank you.
Like, just I think wanting to do more. And
Yeah. I mean, I always enjoy doing something
Yeah.
new, and
Yeah.
I just have to, like, I think, get more dedicated. I mean, I was talking to you and Casey Renee about it, like, after the con.
Yep.
These guys craft for like 10 to 12 hours a day. I mean, like, that's crazy.
That's because we're crazy people.
That's crazy. I mean, if I work for 2 to 3 hours
I know,
a day, and
we're
that's like, oh,
crazy.
that's like, oh man, like so much work I've done today.
We're pretty crazy.
I mean, like, if we have,
No.
like, if in India we have to have a chance of winning against these people,
Then you got to put in like
we gotta put in the
1,000
man.
hours
We
or
gotta
something.
put in the hours, we gotta put in the dedication.
Yeah, it's a lot, unfortunately. But we want to win. US is a hard one to beat usually. Like,
Yeah.
US brings it pretty hard. Like, we won 2 of the past 4 years, I
Yeah, I
think.
think, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a reason. It's because they bring it some hard game.
Though I'm sad about one thing. I from what I've heard, like, maybe Australia is not attending next year.
They might not be. I don't know what's going on with it. I honestly can't say. I really hope that they
Because
do,
I
though.
love Australian.
Yeah, I
Australian
agree.
cosplay,
Australia has some amazing
cosplayers,
competitors. I don't remember who came last year.
Last year was Dingo ate my cosplay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't that one of the best ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Didn't they place?
I think Australia has been, like, almost, like, consistently winning
Consistently doing well every year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like, when I was here,
is.
Henchwench was here.
Henchwench, that's right. Oh my
She
gosh,
was
I forgot.
amazing.
Hers was freaking amazing.
She's like making things for Blizzard now.
She is. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Australia always brings it. I know that they've got some like a central group of main competitors, and every time they bring it.
Yeah.
And I really hope that they keep there or get a new convention that comes here, because they deserve to come here. They're some of the best competitors.
I'm really looking forward to, like,
I hope.
I'm pretty sure it will work out. I mean,
I really hope so,
yeah.
because I really like Australia.
I'm really looking forward to what happens next year, because, man,
Same.
my mind's getting blown.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm helping. Well, I'm hoping to help plan some things for next year. So we'll see how it goes. Don't attach my name to that yet, because I don't know. But hopefully they'll take my recommendations on some really cool guests. I hope.
They will, of course. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you're the
I hope.
cosplay queen.
Oh, shut
up.
Shut up. You shut up right now.
Okay, it was really nice, like, meeting you and talking to you about cosplay.
Yeah.
And guys, this is Ginoza Costuming on Instagram. I mean, she has much more followers than me. This doesn't make sense.
It don't matter. I just like
my giving out a call out, that doesn't make sense at all. But this is more like, hey, I am Sami Bundela. I took her interview. So just look at the video, and I hope, like, you guys like, back in India, like, I made this cosplay this video for you guys, so that you have an input on what all goes inside the mind of a wonderful cosplayer and a judge of C2E2. Yeah. So now all in one. So yeah, let's thank you for talking to us.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll see you in 2022, hopefully.
I hope so, or maybe 2021. Who knows?
2021, if someone brings me as a cosplay handler. Awesome. Okay.
We're good.
Cool. Yes.
All right.
Yes. It's the coronavirus season.
Oh, yep.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay.
Not allowed to.
Bye. I think this was good.